I am broken. I mean, actually, I think I'm broken. I'm so tired. I've just spent all day taking the horses to the water treadmill, which I love. The horses are my therapy, so they're just so cute and cuddly. And my parents were there, which was really nice because it's where we go. There's an Equisur light box, which is amazing. Horsey people might know what this is. Other people are going, what are you talking about, woman? Well, what am I talking about? It's a light therapy box. You put your horse in. I mean, humans use them too. They're really good for athletes. So you can find out what's going on in your body and fix it effectively. But it's not an MRI scan or a CT scan or an X-ray scan. And it's fixed with light therapy, which is brilliant for horses who can't talk to us and tell us, what's going on. So there's the light box that we go to and the water treadmill. Mum and dad came. Well, it's so funny because my mother is 4'0". She's literally, my children call her the Hobbit. And the horse is a 16'3" grey horse that she's a girl, but she looks like Gandalf. So it's like when the Hobbit met Gandalf. My mum's like this, oh, hello up there. And the horse is like, wow, I didn't know they made humans that small. That's extraordinary. But it was really lovely to see mum and dad, despite the fact that I stink and I've got greasy hair because the water has just come back on. So, now you run the tap and it sounds like the entire house is falling down with the boom, 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 boom as it goes through the veins and the taps fall off. I dare say we'll have to repressurise the central heating system. I don't know. It's just another thing to add to the list. But anyway, here we... Oh! Please like, subscribe and share. Got it in. We find ourselves here, cup of tea. Somebody said to me the other day, is there ever any tea in your cups? I'm like, are you having a laugh? I even leave the tea bag in. There's always tea in my cups, always, and coffee. I drink too much coffee though. I need to cut that down, but not at this precise moment in time, particularly when you read all the claptrap that's coming out of Labour's mouths and you just think, now is not the time to be giving up anything that we enjoy, although we are giving up everything we enjoy. On the radio, whilst I was taking the horses to the lightbox, there was a feature about debt repayment. So people using like Klarna and what's the other one called? I called it Clearview the other day, and someone said, no, that's like the log burner. I was like, oh, well, you know what I mean. But ClearPay, is it? And PayPal credit, all of that, which I put the tumble dryer on. But they were saying, there's been this massive rise in people having to use buy now, pay later. Because they don't have enough money. And I'm sort of sitting there going, yeah, I totally understand that. That's why we put the tumble dryer on it. And then they went into the interview piece and it's for things like food. So people are using spread your payments for the basic essentials of life. And in the discussion on the radio, it was like, well, it's because people just don't have enough money. They cannot stretch whatever income they have to meet their outgoings. Now, I often get from a couple of stalwart haters on here, who I won't block because it does make me laugh. But they often say, you ought to live within your means. I'm like, we do. Thanks very much. But means are becoming less and less possible for anyone to live within because our outgoings are just off the scale and are rising at a rate that our income is not keeping up with. And so things do have to get cut. For example, we don't have the heating on. We've talked about this before. And somebody did say to me that there's apparently places where you can go to get free firewood if you chop it up yourself. So we're going to Google that and investigate it. And I think we should do that. I think we should be more resourceful. I think it's not always a bad thing, is it? There's lots of things you can do. We've had the discussion about the dishwasher, and I like to not use the dishwasher if I can help it. And the tumble dryer I've talked about. I had to buy the tumble dryer on PayPal credit. We don't use it very often though. It's literally the last resort. But living in an old house, if you've got damp washing hanging up, it's black mold territory. So we've got to finely balance things. But the general state of play in the UK is unemployment has risen to its all-time high since the pandemic. We're on 5%. And there is no wage growth. So whether you're me, who's saying you can't put the central heating on, or whether you're somebody who's having to spread your payments for your food because you can't afford the essentials, or whether you're somebody who normally has 10 holidays and is now only having 8. It's all relative, isn't it? If it's affecting you negatively, it's a direct response to what's happening in our economy. And it's happening in our economy because of, in my humble opinion, one of the most incompetent human beings, full stop, let alone one of the most incompetent chancellors, full stop. And we keep getting, did you play Rachel Reeves bingo earlier? I will go further and faster. I am determined. This Labour government, all that claptrap. I mean, it was like literally full house within 3 seconds. Well done, Rach. You can do a great bingo card. Could you try and use that talent by running the economy? And it's just unbelievably frustrating when the words that come out of their mouths, and I talk about, I talk about this all the time, it's a real bugbear of mine, bear no bearing to what we are living. So when I hear that people are having to spread the payments of their food, and it was on Radio 4, before somebody says to me, am I an avid Radio 4 fan? It will come as no surprise that my car does not pick up all the radio channels. So in certain areas, it's Radio 4 or Radio 4. But in this instance, it was good. When it's the Archers, it's brilliant. The afternoon play, always love the afternoon play on Radio 4. Even the murky ones that you think, oh, God. They did an amazing Tess of the D'Urbervilles. I don't know if they made it years ago, actually, and I just heard it, but fantastic. Anyway, we digress. It was Radio 4, so you can listen to it if you go on whatever that thing is that you can listen back to it on. And it was just, the stark rise recently, since this Labour government, on how people just can't get these two bits to join, and this is income and outcome. There's this massive gap, and we're having to use credit, debt, and of course, that's what they want. So they want us reliant on the state, and it's happening really well. But it's heartbreaking when you hear the reality of, kids that have worked so hard and gone to college, got an apprenticeship, gone to university, got themselves a job, done all the things that you want to do as you're, starting early adulthood. And they're still having to live with mum and dad because they can't afford the rent, or they can't, mortgage under the age of probably 30 these days. Really? Don't even say the word. It's a dirty word, isn't it? And we've got a generation of young adults who have gone through a pandemic, who have gone through education and are now going through the Labour government. It's just not fair. And Rach Reeves going on about she doesn't think it's fair for children to be penalised for being born into bigger families. And this is, the 2-child cap. I'm like, it's not fair for kids to be born in this Labour government. It's not fair for anyone to be putting up with this Labour government. We don't have the money to support anything other than the 2-child cap. So ideologically, whether you agree with it or whether you don't, we simply don't have the money. Now, I used to be on the fence with it. Honestly speaking, I don't think we should lift it. I think we should get kids out of poverty, abso-flippin-lutely. But is this the way to go about it? No, I don't think it is. I think we need to stop taxing their parents. I think we need to stop making their parents have to work 78 billion hours just so that they can make the tiniest end not even come close to meeting the other tiny end. I think there's so many other areas that we need to look at. Food inflation is off the scale. Heating bills, water bills, we've got kids going to school. I'm moaning because the water wasn't on this morning because Anglian Water had another leak, cut, whatever it was, who knows. But I'm moaning about that for one morning. There are children that don't get to have a wash or a shower or a bath before they go to school, or the night before they go to school, and they're going to school smelly and unwashed with dirty clothes. And that is unacceptable. That's not a thing. And I'm completely in agreement that we've got to do everything in our power to stop that. But is doing that by putting other people into poverty by raising taxes to pay for lifting the 2-child cap? I don't think it is. It's not whether I agree with the principle of taking children out of poverty. Far from it. I still never met anyone who would argue that that's not a good thing. And when people, you know who you are, turn around and go, I can't believe that you're arguing against a child having a hot meal. I can't believe you're arguing against bringing a child out of poverty. I'm not, you fuckwit. Listen to what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, sorry, that was a bit harsh, wasn't it? But it's kind of, you, and you know what I'm talking to. That is not, in my opinion, the way to do it. But regardless of whether it's the way to do it or not, we can't afford it. We don't have any money. Now, Obviously, not having any money has never been a problem for Rachel Reeves. It sounds to me as though she hasn't had to go down the middle aisle and get the yellow label food. It sounds to me as though she hasn't made a choice between eating or heating. It sounds to me as though her children were able to have whatever she wanted to give them. Now, that's not to say that she can't understand and can't be empathetic, and that's not to say she walks around with her eyes closed. Again, you'd have to be an incredibly base human being not to see and recognise and validate the different challenges that people in this country face. I mean, we all, whatever our challenges are, they are ours and they matter. So as I said, whether that's because you used to have 10 holidays and now you only have 8, or, it's all relative. But when it gets to the bit where people are choosing between heating and eating, then that's not relative, is it? That's awful. Now, am I saying the last government were any better at it? No. You didn't want to hear that, did you? But no, I don't think they were. Do I think the last government and this government have got it right? No. Do I think the British people know more about this than the governments? 100%. I think the British people, because we are made up by community and we engage with each other and we listen to each other and we don't have a political ideology to flog left, right and centre so that we can enhance our career. The British people actually see people for being people in the main. There are a few that don't. And in the main, we see what other people are facing, the trials and tribulations of life. And we have a bit more of a handle on it, a bit more of a grasp on it. So all the political claptrap and waffle that comes out of Number 10, shove it, honestly speaking. This whole, can we lift the 2-child cap? Just shut up. You can't. I can tell you right now, Rachel, you can't. Whether you want to win votes by saying you're going to, that's a different matter. That's a completely different matter. But can you lift the 2-child cap? No, you don't have the money. So that's the end of that. I mean, of course, it won't be the end of that. We will be virtue signalling, won't we? We will be Rachel Reeves, she'll be up there with Mother Teresa before the end of the week. And we shall watch and probably play more bingo. But anyway, that was a very long-winded one, wasn't it? Started off with the horses. Somebody said, tell me more about your horse. Okay, I will. If you're not interested, stop watching now. Although you might be interested. I could even show you a photo. She's called Polly Plum. She's 16.3. She's 12. She's an Irish sports horse. And she is my daughter's absolute love. I did a video. I don't know. You'll hear me waffling. Oh, I've turned the sound up. Look, that's Polly Plum. Cute, isn't she? That's me giving her kisses. If you could hear it, and we going, I don't want to kiss Polly Plum. I don't want to kiss her. There's a kiss. Oh, you're such a clever girl. Honestly, I'm ridiculous. It's like, I don't know what it's like. But anyway, that's my pony. And hang on. That's the little hobbit mummy. That's Granny there. She couldn't even go. That's the water treadmill. And my mum's like this. Anyway. Digress. Nice to chat. Yes, I will sort out another live stream. I really will, but not until I've washed my hair. Oh, I can't stand having greasy hair. I'm rambling. Chat soon.